My name is David.
I'm 36.
Married to Jessica for 10 years. 2 kids, Emma, 7, and Noah, 4. Nice house in suburban Ohio. Good neighbors. Good schools. I was happy. That's the part that still stings. It started in January. Jessica told me her younger brother needed a place to stay. Kevin. He was between apartments, going through a divorce, just needed a few months to get back on his feet. I'd met Kevin once, years ago, at our wedding. He seemed quiet, kept to himself. I said yes because that's what you do for family. He moved into our guest room on a rainy Tuesday, brought 1 suitcase and a duffel bag, said his ex-wife took everything. I felt sorry for him. That was my first mistake. Kevin was polite at first, helped with dishes, played catch with Noah, fixed the garbage disposal when it broke. Jessica said he was finding himself. I thought that meant therapy and long walks. It didn't. The changes were small at first. Kevin started eating breakfast with us every morning. Then he started making Jessica coffee, exactly how she liked it. Then he started finishing her sentences. I told myself they were siblings. Close siblings. That's all. Then came the late nights. Jessica would say she was talking with Kevin in the living room after I went to bed. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to an empty space beside me. She'd be downstairs, sitting too close to him on the couch, both of them going quiet when I walked in. Just catching up, she'd say. At 2 a.m. On a Tuesday. I told myself I was paranoid. That was my second mistake. 6 months in, Kevin still hadn't left. The few months had stretched into half a year. Every time I asked Jessica about it, she got defensive. His family. You wouldn't understand. You don't have siblings. She was right. I don't have siblings. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. But the cracks kept growing. Kevin started wearing Jessica's favorite cologne, the one I bought her for our anniversary. When I asked him about it, he said he'd found it on sale. Jessica laughed. Too hard. Too fast. Then I noticed the texts. Jessica's phone was always face down. Always buzzing. She'd glance at it and smile, a private smile, the kind she used to give me. I asked to see her phone once. Just once. You're being controlling, she said. Kevin says you've been acting strange. Kevin says. Not Jessica says. Kevin says. That was the first time I felt something drop in my stomach. Not anger. Not sadness. Realization. I hired a private investigator at month 8. A man named Frank who used to be a cop. Grey mustache. No sense of humor. Just find out if something is going on, I told him. Between my wife and her brother. Frank raised an eyebrow. Her brother. That's what he says. Frank took the case. 3 days later, he called me at work. David, Kevin isn't her brother. What? I ran his information. Birth certificate. Social. Everything. He's not related to your wife. Not by blood. Not by marriage. He's a guy she met at a gym 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Before he needed a place to stay. Before the guest room. Before all of it. Frank kept talking, but I stopped listening. My brain was stuck on 2 years of lies. 2 years of him in my house. 2 years of her looking me in the eye and saying he's my brother. I hung up. Sat in my car. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just Saturday. Then I started planning. I didn't confront her. I didn't confront him. I went home that night and smiled. Made dinner. Read stories to Emma and Noah. Kissed Jessica on the cheek like nothing was wrong. She had no idea. That was my advantage. Frank sent me everything over the next week. Photos of Jessica and Kevin at a hotel across town. The same hotel she said she was visiting a sick friend at. Texts between them that Frank recovered from old phone backups. A lease agreement in Kevin's real name, signed 2 years ago, 40 miles away. He wasn't between apartments. He'd never been married. The ex-wife didn't exist. He was just a man. And she was just a liar. I hired a lawyer. Susan Becker. She listened, nodded, and said, "You have a very strong case." I don't want a case. I want a plan. Susan leaned back. What kind of plan? The kind he doesn't walk away from. The plan took 2 weeks to set up. First, I installed nanny cams in the living room and kitchen. Legal because I own the house. I told Jessica it was for security. She didn't ask questions. Second, I bought a voice-activated recorder and hid it under the guest room bed. Kevin was careful, but not that careful. Third, I invited Jessica's real family to a surprise birthday dinner at our house. Her mother, Barbara. Her father, Gary. Her sister, Megan, who lived 3 states away and hadn't spoken to Kevin in years because Kevin didn't exist. The dinner was set for Saturday at 7 p.m. On Friday night, I pretended to go to bed early. Left my phone recording in the hallway. At 1 a.m., I heard Jessica's bedroom door open. She'd been sleeping in the guest room for months, claiming I snored. I heard whispers. Laughter. The guest room door closing. The recorder caught everything. The next morning, I copied the audio to a USB drive. Made breakfast. Smiled at Kevin when he came downstairs in Jessica's robe. Morning, I said. Morning, he said, not meeting my eyes. Jessica kissed my cheek. Tonight's going to be so fun. I can't believe you planned a surprise dinner for me. Believe it, I said. She had no idea what was coming. Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Jessica's real family arrived early. Barbara, Gary, and Megan. All confused because Jessica hadn't mentioned a birthday dinner, but I'd told them it was a surprise, so they played along. Kevin was in the guest room. Jessica was getting ready. I pulled Megan aside in the kitchen. I need to tell you something. Kevin isn't Jessica's brother. Megan frowned. What do you mean? We don't have a brother. Jessica never had a brother. I'm her only sibling. I nodded. I know. She told me Kevin was her younger brother. He's been living here for a year. Sleeping in the guest room. With her. Megan went white. Then red. Then white again. She walked to her parents. Whispered something. Barbara put a hand over her mouth. Gary's jaw tightened. At 7 p.m. sharp, I called everyone to the dining room. Jessica came downstairs in a new dress. Kevin followed her, wearing a button-down shirt I'd never seen before. Everyone's here. Jessica beamed. This is so sweet. Sit down, Jessica, I said. She looked at my face. Hesitated. Sit. Down. She Saturday. Kevin sat next to her. Barbara, Gary, and Megan sat across. I stood at the head of the table. I have something to share. A story about a wife, a husband, and a man who pretended to be a brother for an entire year. Jessica's smile flickered. I pulled out the USB drive. This is a recording from last night. Guest room.
1 Uhr nachts.
Would anyone like to hear it? Kevin stood up. I don't know what he's talking about. Sit down, Gary said. Quiet. Deadly. Kevin Saturday. I walked to the speaker system. Plugged in the USB. Pressed play. The room filled with whispers. Laughter. A bed creaking. Then Jessica's voice. I love you. I never loved him. You know that. Kevin's voice. Then why are we still hiding? Jessica. 1 more month. I promise. Then we tell him. We'll take the kids. He won't fight us. He's too weak. The recording kept playing. No one breathed. When it ended, Barbara was crying. Gary stared at the table. Megan looked at Jessica like she was a stranger. Jessica looked at me. David, please, let me explain.
No.
You had a year to explain. A year of lying to my face. A year of letting him eat at my table. A year of telling my son that Uncle Kevin was family. I looked at Kevin. Pack your bag. 10 minutes. If you're not gone, I'm calling the police. Impersonation. Fraud. Sleeping with a married woman in her own home. I have enough for all of it. Kevin ran to the guest room. I looked at Jessica. Your mother and father are here. Your sister is here. They know everything now. Divorce papers filed Monday. You have until then to find somewhere else to live. The kids stay with me. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tears fell. Barbara stood up. walked around the table, hugged me. You didn't do this. She did. Then she walked out. Gary followed. Megan paused at the door, looked back at Jessica, shook her head, and left. Jessica sat alone at the dining table. The dinner I'd prepared was getting cold. I picked up my plate, walked to the kitchen, sat down, ate alone. Kevin was gone in 10 minutes. I watched him throw his duffel bag into a beat-up sedan and peel out of the driveway. He didn't look back. Jessica stayed in the guest room for 3 hours. I heard her crying, then calling someone, probably Kevin. He didn't answer. At 11 p.m., she came out. Makeup ruined. Dress wrinkled. Looked 10 years older. Can we talk? 5 minutes. She sat on the couch. I stood by the window. I didn't mean for it to happen. We met at the gym. He was charming. I was lonely. You were always working. Don't blame me. I was working to pay for this house, for your car, for the kids' school. I was working so you could stay home and invite your lover to move in. She flinched. 1 year, Jessica. 365 days. You lied to my face every morning. You let me make him coffee. You let me drive him to the store. You let me treat him like family while you were sleeping with him 3 rooms away. I am sorry. You're not sorry. You're caught. There's a difference. She cried. I didn't comfort her. I walked upstairs, packed a bag for myself and the kids, and left. We stayed at a hotel that night. Emma asked why we weren't going home. Noah asked where Uncle Kevin was. Uncle Kevin had to leave. Mommy needs some time alone. Emma looked at me with her mother's eyes. Are you sad, Daddy? A little, bug. But I'll be okay. Promise. Promise. I held them until they fell asleep. Then I called Susan. It's done. She knows. He's gone. File the papers Monday. Susan sighed. How are you holding up? I'm standing. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. The divorce was final in 4 months. Jessica didn't fight it. Her own parents refused to testify for her. Megan sent me a long email apologizing, not for Jessica, but for not seeing the lies sooner. I kept the house, kept the kids, kept Scout, the golden retriever. Jessica moved into a small apartment across town. Supervised visitation only. The judge didn't appreciate the year-long deception. Kevin disappeared. Frank found him 3 states over, working at a different gym, using another fake name. I didn't press charges. He wasn't worth the paperwork. But I kept the recording, kept the videos, kept everything. Not for revenge. For proof. For the kids, someday, when they're old enough to ask why their mother isn't around, I'll have an answer. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal. It was the silence afterward. The house felt empty even with the kids in it. Every corner reminded me of him. The guest room became my office. I painted it blue. Threw out the bed. Burned the sheets in the backyard. Jessica calls every Sunday. The kids talk to her for 10 minutes. Emma asks when she's coming home. Jessica says soon. I haven't told Emma the truth yet. She's 7. She doesn't need to know that her mother chose a stranger over her father. But someday she will. And I'll be there to hold her when she cries. It's been 6 months since that dinner. I'm in my office, the former guest room. Blue walls. A desk where the bed used to be. A bookshelf where his duffel bag Saturday. I don't think about him anymore. I think about her less. The kids are good. Emma is reading. Noah is learning to lie. Normal kid lies, not the kind his mother taught him. I catch him sneaking cookies before dinner and I smile. That's the kind of lying I can handle. Jessica came by last week to drop off the last of her things. She stood in the doorway, looking at the house that used to be hers. You changed the guest room, she said. It's my office now. It looks nice. Thanks. She asked to see the kids. I said no. Not her day. She nodded. Left. I watched her drive away. Didn't feel sad. Didn't feel angry. Felt nothing. That's the part no one tells you about betrayal. Eventually, you stop feeling anything at all. The anger burns out. The sadness dries up. You're just empty. A house where the furniture has been removed. But empty is better than haunted. I'm not dating. Not looking. Not ready. Maybe someday. Maybe not. Right now, I have 2 kids, a golden retriever, and a blue office where a liar used to sleep. That's enough. If you're reading this and going through something similar, trust yourself. Trust the small voice that says something is wrong. Don't wait a year like I did. Confront. Plan. Leave. Heal. It takes time. It takes therapy. It takes late nights staring at the ceiling and early mornings pretending you're fine. But you get there. One day at a time. One room painted blue at a time. I got there. You will too.